Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Dryer's dried. Peas are dried anyways. Truck's cleaned out. Radiator's back in the brown truck and filled and running, so that's good to go. Straw chopper is off the combine. This one's harder to take off than the new ones or even our 9750. It's just a pin and a button, and then you reroute a belt. Sorry, that's on the 9750. On this one, you need a couple bolts, a couple wrenches. Take some bolts out, pull these pins down here in those holes, unhook those hydraulic lines that run the spreader, hook them to themselves, take the spreader right off, fold this down, unbolt it, and then crank on this to move it all forward. And that way, instead of falling down into these spinning blades, now all the straw is just going to fall off the walkers and fall right down here into a windrow, and all the chaff that's coming off of the sieves is going to just lay on top of that, or lay there too. So that's all ready in anticipation of doing some combining here in an hour or two. Still very muggy this morning. We don't have a breeze coming to help us get rid of that morning dew, so it just kind of sticks there. And when you're this early and this so early in the season and also early in the crop's maturity, you don't really want to rush it because we're flirting with it as is. It's just, everything's just almost there. So if we rush it and we take a load that's tough and we don't pay attention or hit a spot in the field where it's a bit tougher and you throw that into, say, a 10,000 bushel bin, you're setting yourself up for problems. So I'm going to take the swather out here right now and go make a couple rounds. I'll swath for an hour or two. And then I will come back and we'll start combining, I think. Well, the day has brought us back to combining peas. So most of this quarter we spread the straw, but doesn't look like Buddy's gonna get enough wheat straw behind that rotary. So we thought, well, we'll drop the last little bit of it here, see if he can bale up the pea straw. Now there's all different kinds of ideas when it comes to straw: oat straw, wheat straw, barley straw, pea straw, canola straw. Some people like it, some people don't. Everybody has their preferences. Pea straw is usually not that desirable, I guess, at least not in our experience here. Guys worry about getting it dry enough, but it's 30 degrees here now, so should work for him anyways. This is she's a really on and off swath here, so it gets pretty good for a while, then it's going to peter out there. That's the name of the game in farming. She's usually never end-to-end good. This in particular piece, and actually in one of the earlier YouTube videos I did, I think the thumbnail was an aerial shot of this field. There's like 8 or 9 big wet spots or sloughs or whatever you want to call them in here. And in a wet year, we drive all over the place to try to seed this field. You rarely ever get to make one round without going around something. This year, however, it was a little bit drier. This was the last field we seeded, and I seeded through everything except for one big slough. And then the heat came and the dry weather came, and all the higher spots didn't do so well. All the lower spots did very well. So when you're going up and down the field now, anywhere there, because I seeded basically end to end, anywhere where one of those sloughs existed, you see the yield jump right up to maybe 50, 60. And then you get out of that slough and you start going up, and you start going from 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, probably down to 10 in spots. So what will it average out to be? I don't know. It'd be nice to get 7,000, 8,000 bushels off the quarter, but I don't think that's going to happen. Well, good morning. Buddy's off to feed his chickens. I'm going to check the oil in the tractor here. My peers up here in the Peace Country that watch this, are you guys getting like horribly fatigued from the smoke. I'm just totally wiped. My mom, she seems to be fine. Corey's pretty good. My dad's got energy. I'm just finished. Like, I don't even know what it is. I'm assuming it's the smoke, because I mean, things are going fairly well. We got the peas, got 160 acres of peas off. They're all dried already in the bins. Corey's been working at that wheat. He's got like 50 or 60 acres of that done. I swathed till about 1 in the morning this morning, I guess. So we got 2 quarters of barley, 2 quarters of canola swathed, 2 more to go. The one over here is probably going to be a week before we swath it. The other one, I'm going to swath it as time permits. We got to swath our peas and canola mix. That's kind of ready to go at any time. But it's so muggy. So I was cutting canola last night, and it was actually so bad. That's pretty foggy. There we go, that's a little better. So yeah, maybe bad's not the word. It was so so wet, so humid that the water was like, when I got to the end of the field and picked the swather head up and the canvases were running empty, there was actually water droplets flying off into the center and water flying off the reels and everything, and that was just from the dew. So I don't know if it's the air is so heavy, plus the smoke, plus the humidity. I don't know what's getting me, but I'm a little off my game today. We're going to get going. Dad's fueling up Old Yeller so we can fuel up our grain drying tractor. There's like a little wisp of wind. The grass is still soaked. I seen Buddy when he come by with the quad tires are just soaked from driving on the lawn. So it's not going to go right away. Hopefully by this afternoon, 1, 2 o'clock, we can go make a few more rounds or something. Well, good afternoon, good evening. What is the time? Is it 6 o'clock, I think? Actually, it's almost 7, quarter to 7. So we're still out here in the wheat. She's making pretty good progress. Unfortunately, just not yielding. I think probably to this point, she's figured it's about 30 bushels to the acre. So that's not good. Now, if you recall back to my spraying days, and even when we watched it come up, I thought it was just an atrocious crop. It came up like crap. So right off the bat, basically 2 weeks into planting, or 2 weeks after planting, we knew that it was something was wrong. We're not going to seed this variety of wheat. This is Parada wheat. We've seeded it 3 years. We've never been able to get a big yield. The only reason we kept growing it is 2 years in a row, we did get #1 wheat. So we thought, well, that's great. We'll sacrifice some yield if we can still get a grade, and we'll just go from there. It was decent enough on the protein. Didn't seem like it was taking a whole bunch of groceries to get it. Now we weren't getting 15, but we were getting 13, 13.5, no problem. And for us, it is tricky to get protein. I don't care what anybody says. Our land is too light. So unless you sock the nitrogen to it, you're not, depending on variety, I suppose, you're probably not going to get the protein. And it's funny because lots of guys, oh yeah, no, I got lots, but I've talked to elevator agents and they said too, yeah, like very, very little from your area comes out with good protein, certainly not year in, year out. The other thing, so this year we got that 1 3/4 inches of rain, and that's what happens to your wheat, at least this Parada variety, probably all varieties. So they should all be like, they should all look like the red ones. Shouldn't be any of the white ones. No, I think the white ones are called piebald. What is that? Thistle? A little bit of canola. I think the white ones, they call them piebald. They're bleached because of that rain. So even though the crop was standing and it was probably like almost ready to be combined, we got that 1 3/4 inches of rain, and it went from what would have all been red to like 60-40, 70-30. There's very few red ones in there. I'll take a side-by-side picture of last year's wheat to this year's wheat. So we already know this isn't #1. I don't know how to grade wheat, so it possibly is a number 3. Sometimes I've been shocked and it's been a number 2. We haven't done a protein yet on it. One old boy, he told me if you start chewing on it and it makes gum right away, you know that the protein's good. And this did that, believe it or not, quicker than it has in the past, turned to gum. So I don't know, maybe it's got decent enough protein. But a 30 bushel crop just isn't gonna cut her. We only started growing wheat maybe 5 years ago again, 6 years ago. Dad quit growing it in the early 90s, late 80s, I think. And we didn't grow it for years. It was just too late of a crop, too hard to grow, too hard to get ripe. One year it froze in like August. So he got nothing that year. So he switched out and started growing feed barleys and malt barleys, and we had better luck with that. This year we put this whole 400 into the wheat. And I think what I'm hoping is last year from the highway down to 4 or 5 rounds the other side of these trees, it was all canola, and it was a pretty good canola crop. So I'm kind of hoping that canola just took everything out of the land, and maybe we didn't put enough back. I thought 250 pounds of fertilizer was enough. Maybe it wasn't. So I'm hoping when she gets into what was oats last year, which will be the rest of this is 400 acres. I'm hoping it spikes up to at least 50, maybe 60. And I know down by the lake it will, because that's quite a bit better soil. So we could still average out maybe a 40 bushel crop. She did say it was getting better as she went up by the highway on these knolls and stuff. It was just, well, when I sprayed it, there was whole spots where there was nothing coming yet. Then it came later, a week or two later after the rest of the crop, and it did even out, but the proof is now in the pudding that it evened out to be a very poor crop. So we're going to be happy and thankful for what we do get. We're not forward contracting people, so we don't have that to worry about, that we're not going to get enough to fill our contracts. And from what I'm understanding, most people's crops are running very well. I don't know what happened here this year. I just don't know. We did have 2 good previous years, so maybe it's fair, right? It's just our turn, I guess. I did call for a taxi ride, and obviously that went unanswered, so I'm gonna hoof her down to the yard, test this wheat. Corey says the monitor's saying 12. 12 would be nice, 12.5, something like that. We're sticking it in a big 10,000 bushel bin anyways, and I got an aeration fan going on it just to keep, I don't know, why not, right? Why not? May as well burn a little bit of power, blow some cool air through it, because it was like 28, 29 degrees when you take the temperature of the grain out of the truck. Also, our shiny new bin floors are there, so that's a win. We put like a gravel base down, and then we laid some treated 2x6s across too, hopefully to keep it from waving. We've done that with these bins over here too, and it worked pretty well. I'm hoping, I think this year is going to be the year to either get I don't know, maybe I think they got like 7,000 bushel bins, popper bins. Be nice to get one of those for the grain dryer and stuff. But I really do like the 10s and the 12s on the backside there, the bigger ones. They're nice because they hold like 5 Super B loads of grain. So when you're hauling off the field, you don't have to move the auger very much. And not that 10,000 bushels is like a reasonable amount to have in case something goes bad, because it's, you know, if it's say wheat at $8, it's $80,000 in one of those grain bins. So that's, you don't get a whole bunch more sleep, but it's a decent enough size. It's manageable. If your temperature cables start to read higher or something, the temperature goes up. You know, in one day you can clean that bin out, see what's going wrong with just one or 2 trucks. Oh, there's my ride. Well, good evening. It's now, it's 8:45, so we got that Super B unloaded so Corey could keep going on the wheat. And then my dad's been in the yard keeping the dryer going all day, and I've been just coming out and getting a few loads just to keep things going. These peas, I don't think that they're ever going to be ready this year. They just, I don't know, they don't look too bad, and they're starting to rattle there now. Would be nice if there was a little bit more of a yield, but it is getting better. Some of this had some huckspur and thistle and stuff in it, and the Viper didn't do anything against that. So there was a bit of weed pressure right here in the middle of the field. I think most likely we're going to probably average about 40 on our peas. So that's not the best, but it's not the worst either. These last ones were testing about 16, 15, 8, but because that they're not ready or they're not cured down is what the problem is. We're going to run them through the dryer anyways. Only takes about an hour and a half. You run them through, you circulate them a few times, heat them up to about 30 degrees, and then cool them down. And then once you unload them, we've noticed that they've all evened right out, and any of the soft ones have starting to get pretty firm. So, and I mean, dry is going to be dry. In the past, we've combined peas that were kind of soft and chewy, and they also tested dry, and they do keep. So it's just I don't understand the theory behind that, or what makes the pea do that. Last year when we combined them, they were all like 13 moisture or less. They were like rock hard. This year they're well, up as high as 16, 17 now, and they're staying kind of soft, which actually is better for thrashing because you won't break so many, you won't have so many cracks. That is one problem that happened last year. People's peas got too dry, and lots of their grains got too dry, that they were damaging them when they were thrashing. So kind of is what it is. The baler man, he got excited. He come out here and he's baling up this pea straw. And he's doing pretty good, getting lots of bales, so that's going to be good for him. He was kind of a little bit short all around, so he's hoping to get some pea straw, some wheat straw, some barley straw, some oat straw, and then he'll be able to make up some mixes throughout the winter with his silage and the hay that he does have. That'll be that. Well, good evening. It is, what is it, 7:30, and this is the last pass of the straight peas for 2023. So we started kind of in the middle, and then we did the north end, and then we came over here and did the south end. This ran quite a bit better than the other field, so we're pretty pumped about that. The baler man, he's been out here baling up a storm. He had a little bit of a breakdown there last night, a little bit more of one this morning. So he's missed most of the day with a couple trips to town, things of that nature, but hey, that happens. This swath only goes halfway here because I picked half of it up when we were doing the outside round. So a few hundred, 100 more feet here, and that's it. So it's been a little bit of a hodgepodge of a video, but that's the way it goes in harvest. We bounce from here to there, what crop's ready, what crop's not ready. You know, there's always lots happening in the background. Dad and I would grab that other straight cut header. Dad's been getting irrigation fans set up in bins. These peas are coming off dry. They're like 14.5, but it's so hot. It's like 28 degrees that we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to blow on them a little bit, and then that'll push that moisture out, and it will. They don't need to be dried anymore, but it'll push that moisture that's wicking off of the peas out, dry out some of the pods that end up in the sample, and hopefully, knock on wood, we should have safe storage for these guys for the foreseeable future until the buyer wants to load a sea can and export them to wherever they're going to get exported to. So as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you all on the next one.